Thanks for tuning in again to the Lucid Sight Collective Podcast. Today we're going to be talking about the waking state and the dreaming state, and how sometimes the line can get kind of blurred between these two different states of being. And sometimes we find that we're going through life asleep and we're just going along with the flow of whatever comes, never really taking charge or taking control of our own lives. And vice versa. If you guys have listened to the other episodes, you know that we can also wake up in our dreams. And the more work you do with your dreams, the more you realize just how blurred this line can become. And you realize that if you're not actively taking control of your life and being present with yourself and others, you're basically living in the dream state. The difference between a regular dream and a lucid dream is, in a regular dream, the part of your brain that deals with logical reasoning and decision making is completely shut off. That's why you don't stop to wonder why you're back in your childhood home or why Bigfoot is chasing you up the Eiffel Tower. So if you aren't questioning the things that are happening in your life and tuning into yourself and making your own decisions, you're literally daydreaming. And once you realize this, then you can start working on being more present and conscious in your day-to-day life. You'll realize that you have more time than you thought you had, and you really are in control more than you think. And the self-control that you have is the thing that will push you towards the life that you truly want and the person that you're really meant to be. So this episode's going to be a little different. It's just going to be more laid back in general, I'd say. I'm going to share a few personal accounts that I've had with this, and it is going to be based on like real situations that happen and like have been proven, like false awakenings and derealization, but I'm also going to share like some personal concepts that I have of like how to harness lucid dreaming in your waking life. And yeah, it's just going to be like more laid back in general than my other episodes. So yeah, just wanted to let you guys know before we start. And also, just because we're on the topic, I'm gonna be sharing like a lot more personal accounts and like dream stories when it relates to the episode in the future. So yeah, if you guys don't like it, let me know. But I don't know, I think it's good to share personal accounts. So yeah, there will be more of that in the future. But stick around, guys, because some of these concepts are just like fun to talk about, but the part about harnessing lucidity in your waking life is a really important concept to understand, and it can really have an immense impact on our waking life. But I am going to start with just like the interesting phenomena that happens in dreams that kind of blurs the waking and dreaming state together. But towards the end of the episode, I am going to talk about the concept of harnessing lucidity. So stick around because it's going to get interesting. I think the whole thing's interesting, but the ending is really important. So yeah, thanks for listening again. There's a lot of different ways that the waking world and the dreaming world can get blended and blurred together. But right now we're going to talk about false awakenings and how they can kind of mess with your head and make you feel like you're truly awake when you're really still in your dream after you've already woken up. Sometimes when you pay really close attention to your dreams, they can really trip you out because you start to realize that you have false awakenings. So you'll be dreaming and you'll wake up in your bed and it will feel like a normal day, and you'll go do your morning routine, make yourself breakfast, take a shower, and then go about your day like as if it were tomorrow. Like you would go to your appointment if you had an appointment, or you go to work. Like they're these very mundane dreams that seem so real, and they start with you waking up from the dream that you just had and getting out of bed and going on about your day just like it's normal. So this effect can be really trippy when it happens to you, because you swore that you just went about your day and did all the stuff that you needed to do, and then you wake up and you realize you have to do it all over again. And when you have these often enough, sometimes they make you question your day-to-day life and wonder, am I just dreaming still? Like, am I gonna wake up in my bed again and realize that no time has passed? It's a really trippy thought to have, but it can make you question your reality enough to really take a good hard look at your life. And this phenomenon made me realize I need a different job because I could not stand the thought of working a full 8-hour shift in my dreams and then getting up the next day and having to do the same thing. Like all of that energy wasted on something I don't even care about. And this can really make you question your reality in your day-to-day life. And it helps you get it back on track and helps you realize what actually matters to you and what's really important in your life and what you actually want to be spending your day doing. I personally think that everyone has false awakenings in their dreams. I think that most people just don't remember them because they seem so real, and even if you do remember it, it's like you're almost tempted to just say like, oh yeah, that happened. Like that was just a different day or something. Like I've done this before where I could have sworn that the false awakening I had was real and that it actually happened. And sure enough, it was a dream. But they seem so real, and that's what's so trippy about them. Like I thought that I had never had any false awakening dreams. And then once I started to recognize them in my dreams and like I confirmed that I did have them, they just felt so real that I didn't recognize them as being dreams. Then I noticed it in my dreams so often. And even still to this day, like I will have them and I'm not quite sure if it was a dream or not. Like I'll have to ask someone, like, did I tell you my dream yesterday? And they'll be like, no. And it was in my dream that I was telling someone my dream after I had woken up from my dream, but I was still in my dream. It was just a false awakening. So this is super trippy stuff. And it's also another way that the waking world and the dreaming world can get blurred. Like the line can get so murky that you don't know which one is which. On the other side of this, we have, I think the best way to put it is derealization. And this is the feeling where you're in waking life and something happens that triggers this sensation that makes you feel like you're dreaming, but you're actually awake in your waking life. I think this is probably more common to have for people that track their dreams and have like pretty common dream recall, like they pretty much remember their dreams every night because you're able to see your dream themes. And like me personally, when a dream theme comes up, I automatically do a reality check. And a lot of the times, like when something in real life happens that correlates with your dream themes that you have, it can trigger this feeling of like, am I in a dream right now? And sometimes that sensation is so strong. And I think this is different from the mental disorder, which is depersonalization, derealization disorder. And I think this is different because with like general derealization, you're just getting like brief flashes of it and it's not very common and it's like specifically triggered by an event that constantly happens in your dream. Whereas the depersonalization, derealization disorder occurs when you persistently or repeatedly have the feeling that you're observing yourself from outside your body, or you have a sense that things around you aren't real, or both of these things together. And also, just throwing this in here really quick, general derealization can be a cause of multiple things. So like it it's a form of dissociation. And this can like be the feeling like you're in a simulation, or like if you've done too much acid or something, like you've probably experienced this. I don't know. It can show up in a lot of different ways, but I'm specifically speaking like towards dreaming in general, like where you feel like you're in a dream in waking life. I think this is even more trippy because you're actually awake and you swear that you're in a dream, but this has only happened to me a couple of times. And one time it was really vivid and it was actually really scary because a common theme in my dreams is like driving and not really having full control over the vehicle. Like I'm trying to press the brakes and the car isn't stopping in the time that it should be. And this happened like maybe 2 years ago or something, but I was visiting my family for Christmas and I was driving my mom's minivan and like it was cold out, like there was probably ice and stuff, but it wasn't the ice that did this. And I was driving her car into an intersection and like trying to stop the car before I turned and was pressing the brake and the car was jolting forward as if I were pressing the gas. And I, in that moment, I was like, I'm dreaming right now. And it was such a strong feeling. Like, and I mean, at that point, like, I had been a lucid dreamer for 20 years. So I had done the reality checks in my dreams. And, like, I could have sworn that I was in a dream in that moment. And thank God the stars aligned and the brake engaged and the car was able to stop. But I was going into oncoming traffic and it was so terrifying. But yeah, in that moment, I could have sworn I was in a dream. And it only happened one other time after that, and it wasn't as strong of a feeling. It was just like kind of that feeling that you get that like this doesn't seem quite real right now. And it wasn't like an overwhelming feeling. It was just this sensation that I got. But yeah, the most notable experience is that minivan story. That was crazy. Okay, now we're gonna kind of switch gears, and instead of talking about specific phenomena that happens that kind of blurs the lines of waking and sleeping, we're gonna talk about how we can harness lucid dreaming to then gain more control over our waking life. We as a collective society have really separated these two states so far from each other that we think that waking and dreaming are completely different, and they're not. They're very similar. It's a continuum. Your dream state when you're asleep is just a continuum of your experience as a human being. And as you get into working with dreams, you notice that sometimes you're in a dream state during the day And you also notice that sometimes in your dreams, you can enter a waking state. And you can actually explore your dream world with your conscious mind and your conscious thoughts. And sometimes this line can become very blurred, but learning to lucid dream can also help wake us up in the real waking world. And it clues us into just how often we're letting our unconscious mind rule our lives. This realization can help shake us awake midday and say, what the fuck am I doing? And what do I really want to do right in this moment? And it can help us take control of our lives and take back the power that we really have. You can forget about being lucid in your dreams if you're not even lucid in your waking life. How do you live your day-to-day life? Is it on autopilot? Do you really think of what you're doing? And are you really paying attention to what you want? Or are you just going off of what someone else has told you? I'm sure you guys have experienced this before, of going through the day and feeling like you're never fully able to wake up, or just like almost like daydreaming throughout the day, or I call it zoning out. Sometimes I am completely zoned out through the day and I cannot get myself back on. Or living your life based on how you assume you should be living it, and haven't actually truly taken time to think what you really want. How often do you question things or tune into how you're really feeling in the moment, and actively catching yourself in that moment when you're in autopilot or you're not truly thinking and questioning your life? Or are you aware of what you're doing and making conscious decisions in your life and where you want your life to go? Do you take responsibility for your health and well-being? Are you truly living consciously? And what are the steps that you can take to living a more lucid life, or just having more lucid moments throughout your life? And even if you are living consciously for the most part, everyone can get better, and we can all grow and develop our awareness in waking life. I mean, how many times have you gone somewhere, driven to the grocery store, and you could not remember how you got yourself there, how you managed to drive through all of those stoplights? Like, it's just a complete blur to you. And how many times have you completely zoned out on social media or over the TV for hours and hours and not even realized how much time has gone by? Or you can't even remember when you sat down in the first place, or you were going to go plant some stuff in the garden and somehow along the way you ended up sitting down and you didn't get back up because you didn't even realize that you were zoning out. This is being in the dream state in the waking world. I call it zoning out, as I said before, but there's a bunch of different versions of this. You need to learn how to become present in your own life. And I'm saying you, but I'm using my real world examples that happen to me every day, and I am constantly working on so that they happen less and less, and I am more present and more conscious throughout the day. But no one's perfect ever. Like, you can practice this stuff for your whole life and still go through a day being unconscious. Like, it happens. But the important thing is that we're trying to recognize when it happens and shift that pattern. This stuff happens all the time in our waking life. Sometimes it can show up with you having a feasible list of what you want to do that day. And somehow you ended up wasting the time away until the sun went down somehow. I mean, I do this all the time, still, even with practice of lucid dreaming, but this practice helps show me just how often I zone out and just how compulsive it is through the day. It really is a habit and an addiction. Like, your brain just wants to zone out. And if you're not keeping on it and staying present with yourself throughout the day, your life can really just pass you by without you even noticing. But we can take control of our lives, and we can control our own actions. We have that self-control, but it has to be developed, and you have to have the presence to see it when it's happening. We can bring lucid dreaming into the waking world and become truly awake. And even if we forget, somewhere along the way, there's going to be a cue of, oh shit, I'm sleeping right now. And it's a practice, guys. Like with anything else, practice, and eventually your subconscious mind will catch on. Practice never makes perfect, but we can get better at this and have a lucid life.